Hello everyone, welcome to another new video. Today we'll be talking about CPU cooling solutions and my thoughts about them. So let's get started. What do we have? We have a couple of categories, couple main categories. One of them being an air cooler, the other one being AIO, aka all-in-one water cooling solution. And then we have obviously custom loops, and there might be some other cooling solutions as well. So let's get started with the air cooler. It's relatively cheap. It's been around for ages. It's super reliable. There are no moving parts, like pumps or anything that can go bad. There's only a fan that might be getting its bearings bad in a couple of years, but nothing really major. It might get noisy when the fan like isn't very high quality, or its bearings it's been run for ages, and it's usually very bulky because yeah, because you need a lot of surface to transfer the heat. It's all about the surface area, and you need more of it. That's why you have a lot of fins, a lot of thin fins that are stacked neatly, which in between there is an air moving around all the thermal energy out of the cooler. Yeah, and they might be bulky if you're not talking about some low, you know, like the really low coolers, or maybe Noctua that are suitable for tiny builds. So, but they are completely fine. They might also have like a certain thermal capacity to them, how much power they can actually sustainable transfer, let's say, how much power they can dissipate maximum. So be careful around that. If you're having really a large CPU, a big CPU, a very powerful CPU, like 13900K or something like that, even overclocked, that's getting 300 watts or something, then maybe air cooler isn't the best solution. There might be some super heavy ones, but maybe for that application, it's not the best solution. But for most users with average builds, air cooler is completely fine. It's enough. Then we have all-in-one water cooling, which is like a middle step between an air cooler uh, and a custom loop. Because it's a water cooling solution, which means there is always some kind of CPU cooler block. Might be integrated with a pump. There's usually no reservoir. It's a closed loop system, so you can fill it. And the power it can dissipate really depends on the radiator it has. There might be 120, 140, 280, 240 rads, 360 rads. You know, the more power, the more surface area it has, the better it will dissipate the heat. So if you get a 360 versus 120, the 360 is gonna win every time. But it depends if you got enough space in your case. And also, the larger ones are usually more expensive. So that's about it. That's about, yeah. So check your needs. But if you're, again, feeling like 13900K, 120 red is not probably gonna cut it. It's not a solution that fits everyone. You know, you need to be careful picking the right size of the radiator to be able to handle the amount of power your CPU requires. They're usually less noisy, cause you know, the fans can spin at a lower rate than on an air cooler usually, because there is enough air coming through the fans, and the water has a better thermal capacity than the heat pipes, so it can transfer more heat more efficiently. But there are some downsides. If you cut the tubes, there can be a leakage, and at that point it's unrepairable. Basically, when the pump fails, it's not repairable. And it can fail after a couple of years, but if it's installed incorrectly, if the pump is the highest point of the loop, then it might fail sooner than expected. Usually the AIOs last for 5 years, even 10 years. It depends how they run, what the pump is in them. But if the pump is the highest point of the loop, if the red is under the pump, then that's gonna create bubbles inside the pump, and that's not really great for the pump, so it's gonna get destroyed sooner. Also, even though it's a closed loop system, there's still some evaporation through the tubes and through fittings and stuff. There are still fittings, even though it's kind of everything is plastic and everything is interconnected to each other. Is fitted like securely. There's still some slight leakage, slight evaporation, and yeah, that's about it. They usually look better as well, which if you have got like tempered glass system, which I do have. Why am I looking at my PC right now? uh, it usually looks better. You don't have the massive radiator in the middle of your case, which maybe someone prefers, but I personally don't. So for me, it looks better. No less noisy. There I have a slightly better cooling capacity if you pick the right ones, if you pick the good ones. So that's about it. And then we have the custom water loops, which are the most expensive way probably to cool your PC, and it's the coolest way. Really, it is. I really have to try it because I haven't done any custom water loop yet, but I really wanna do one someday. You can have hard tubed, which is done with PVC tubes, hard tubes, where you have to bend it or use fittings to really make your loop work. You need a lot of parts. You gotta source them separately, pretty much. You need to know what you're doing if you're doing custom water loop, or have it done by someone who knows how to do it. That's about it. But it's the most expensive way to cool your PC. It's gonna do the job the best way. But obviously, it has its downside. It's super expensive, but the pump can, can fail. Pump is pretty much the only way. The custom water loop can fail, apart from fittings and the leakage on them. Yeah, if you don't tighten the fitting enough, you might get your PC very wet, and that's not good for your motherboard or any other parts in your PC. So be careful around that if you're doing a custom water loop. But if you are, you're probably not watching this video. Yeah, but if the pump fails, you can easily replace it, or you can replace any components. You can really customize your build with this to suit your needs, to make it look the coolest. So that's it. But then we have some other interesting options maybe. If you're looking for a very quiet PC, you might look into a passive cooler, which is essentially a massive block of aluminum or copper fans. Depends on the price. These days aluminum. Which is just an air cooler without a fan, pretty much. There are heat pipes. They are distributing the distributing the heat out of the CPU, out of the hot plate. to the vent to be dissipated, and it really entire relies on the airflow that's external to the air cooler, to the passive cooler, because there is no fan on it. It's very big, and it doesn't usually isn't usually able to dissipate a lot of power. It depends. It depends on the circumstances. It depends on the case, if it's in a case, and it depends on the airflow. And it's pretty much, yeah, as I said, it's pretty much an air cooler without a fan. So that's about it. And then I have one niche that I really want to build, and it's mineral oil PC. It's a PC that's being submerged into mineral oil that's non-conductive. It's like a fish tank. If you can imagine a fish tank, but without the fishes, but with all the PC components in it, apart from mechanical hard drives, which you can't submerge, obviously. Everything else you can easily submerge, and you can cool it externally. Like, first of all, the mineral oil has a lot of thermal capacity in it. If there is a lot of mineral oil, it's a super expensive way, but I think it looks super cool. It really does. When you got a fish tank PC, who has it? No one really. It's very expensive. It's hard to maintain. Oh, it's incredibly hard to maintain because when you want to do any customization to your PC or any modification, you need to pull it out of the mineral oil, and that's very messy as well. And you need a lot of mineral oil to fill a fish tank, and that's not the cheapest way. So yeah, but I think it looks the coolest, honestly, with lights and everything. And you can cool it externally by cooling the mineral oil. So you can have like an external radiator that cools down the mineral oil, or we can have other ways, I guess. But yeah, I want to build it one day. I'm gonna build it next year. Yes, that's a plan. So let's stay tuned for that, and I hope I I help someone with this. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe. And if I missed something, please let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you some other time. Bye.